Tonight on the Donlon Report, you heard it here first. Texas will build a border wall itself and pay for it. We're going to have the latest on where it will be, when, and how much it'll cost. Plus, the Omicron variant. If we're about to be hit with another wave, we are going to take a look at whether our exhausted healthcare workers are ready. Dr. Brett Giroir with more on that. Plus, there are still 60,000 Afghan interpreters and visa holders waiting to be helped out of the country. It's been nearly 4 months since we left. How do we get them out? And where do they go when they arrive? Great to have you with us. We are in our News Nation Chicago studios, and the Donlon Report starts right now. So we broke some news on the border, and tonight we have more details for you. That is the pulse of America. Texas Land Commissioner George P. Bush telling us Texas is building a border wall on its own. Here's a clip.
You'll be one of the first to know on your show that we will begin constructing a permanent wall in the state of Texas shortly. We'll be breaking ground in a matter of days. A permanent wall is a much more lasting solution. So we believe in the coming days we'll make an announcement in Starr County, which is in the Rio Grande Valley, where roughly 40% of all illegal immigrant apprehensions in our country occur.
Also, News Nation has obtained video of the border wall construction. A hat tip to Leland Vittert for that. The state of Texas and the Biden administration have clashed over the border almost from day one. So Texas now decided to take matters into its own hands, launching what it calls Operation Lone Star, which has gotten pushback. It's the state's law enforcement initiative to stop illegal immigration. In Kinney County, Texas, the sheriff is allowing groups of armed private citizens to help patrol the border and arrest migrants for trespassing. And now the state is building a wall on its own. Here are some numbers for you. 173,000 plus migrant encounters in November alone, a 140% jump from last year. Now, News Nation received this image from near Laredo recently. Nearly 100 immigrants crammed into a trailer. They were discovered by the Texas Department of Public Safety. They say there was no ventilation in the trailer and no way for them to get out. The Biden administration continues to fight the Remain in Mexico policy in the courts, although a number of border officials have told us on this broadcast it helps. Joining me now for more on all of this, especially the Texas border wall, retired ICE Special Agent and candidate for Texas Land Commissioner, Victor Avila. Victor, it's good to see you again. It's been a little while. Tell us what you know about this state-funded wall.
A lot to uncover here, Joe. Let's start with this wall. It's definitely something that I support. And as the next Texas Land Commissioner, I will get it done. And frankly, I'm the only one that has the experience on the border to get this done. We know that these are projects that are timely, but my supervision of this construction of the wall would be right there for make sure that it's right, it's done right, especially that the construction of this wall goes up in the really necessary areas of the border. I know those areas, especially where the traffic is coming. You mentioned the numbers. It is out of control, Joe. And let me tell you, there's a lot more. I just got off the phone a couple of nights ago with one of my sources that calls me that from Mexico, that individuals up to 20,000 are coming, a lot from Africa, Haiti, Central America. But here's the thing now that the concern is they're bringing, especially the Africans, a lot of diseases like flesh-eating diseases, dengue fever coming from Central America, cholera, HIV, a lot of diseases. And it's a concern, not just obviously for our border agents, but for our citizens once these individuals are let into our country.
So tell us more about the wall and how much it'll cost, how much Texas is setting aside to pay for it, Victor.
This is the best part about the budget, is that this budget has been aligned for this wall. Now, the total number cost is still in the air as to the final cost of this wall, but it's long overdue, Joe.
It's $1 billion plus, though, right? It's $1 billion plus.
Right. But this is money that's been allotted and it's been there for a while, and we should have started this a long time ago. And I want to make something clear. This is not something establishment politicians should be saying only because they want to get elected. This is something that we've been needing for a long time, and the state of Texas is right in stepping up to take care of the border, because obviously the Biden administration will not do it.
The other thing is it's going to be less than even former President Trump's proposal for the wall, because most of the land down there Texas already owns, or it'll be dedicated for this, correct?
That's absolutely right. And on top of that, as land commissioner, I will get and talk, as I have as a private citizen, with the private landowners as well, the ranchers that are fed up with the illegal traffic coming through there, the cartel members, armed cartel members patrolling on their ranches on the Texas side. Texas needs to step up and engage them as well as to what we do and how we help them with their lands. What do they want to do? Because they want a barrier on their private land as well.
What about the federal government's role in this, Victor? Is there one at all? And is there anything at this point that could stop you? Maybe court challenges?
Joe, they just refuse to follow law. Even when the Supreme Court tells them to follow, for example, Remain in Mexico policy, they refuse to follow the law. The one that's in the books and the new ones that come through the Supreme Court order. The Remain in Mexico is starting to be implemented in the California side. And you see what's happening. What's happening is they're going to Arizona. But they know these individuals that are coming to our country, by the way, a large amount of criminal elements coming in, MS-13, bringing drugs, bringing cocaine, bringing fentanyl and methamphetamine are coming through the porous Texas side. What
about the wall itself, though, Victor? I mean, is there anything that can stop that regarding a court challenge, or might the federal government have some say in what happens?
Absolutely not. You know, Texas is a sovereign state. And this is the beauty. This is our land. This is the land that we protect. And I'm liking what I'm seeing here with the beginning of this construction, because I will oversee the finalization of this wall, and they can't tell us what we can and cannot do on our own state.
All right, it's great to see you again. Retired ICE Special Agent Victor Avila, running now for Texas Commissioner of help me out here, Land Commissioner.
Texas Land Commissioner.
Right. All right, good luck with the campaign, Victor. Good to see you.
Thank you. Merry Christmas.
Same to you. Texans feeling overwhelmed by migration, and American healthcare workers now overwhelmed by the Omicron variant. Axios reporting COVID is pushing the country's healthcare workforce to the brink. Hospital workers feeling worn out, burned out, and frankly, exhausted. The head of the American Hospital Association putting it this way: we are facing a national emergency. For 2 years now, they have been going at full throttle. Let's welcome back our friend, Dr. Brett Giroir, former Assistant Secretary for Health and White House testing czar. He's been on the front lines of the pandemic. And Doctor, I guess I'll start with how we possibly help an exhausted and already depleted healthcare system that seems to be in trouble right now.
Well, thanks for having me on. And, you know, winter is hard enough in our healthcare institutions with flu, and usually the ICUs are full. But our healthcare workers have been battling this for 2 years. They're physically exhausted, many are emotionally exhausted, and some even spiritually exhausted.
Right.
So number one, we have to show them support and support for them and their families. Care, love, attention really means something. I know I was in an ICU and I worked very hard, not during COVID, but it means a lot for people to do that. Secondly, they don't want you in their hospital and you don't want to be in the hospital. So the best way you can help them is to help yourself. And the best way to do that, we know, is please get vaccinated if you've not been vaccinated. And remember, we're suffering from Delta now. And although the vaccines work very well, those first 2 shots, there is waning immunity. And after 5 or 6 months, the booster can really help you, especially if you're over 65 and especially if you have comorbid conditions. You want to help the healthcare workers, help yourself.
25% of hospitals, doctor, are reporting their ICUs are 95% full. And according to HHS, 79% of intensive care beds were occupied recently nationwide. Do you envision another situation as we had early on, where we're looking at remote hospitals just for COVID patients?
I don't see that right now, and those numbers may sound scary, but those are really manageable numbers. Now, they're going to be a hospital that's overrun, but that's why we have regionalization systems, so we share patients and we direct patients different places. I'm not saying this is a great situation, but these are manageable and the system knows how to deal with that. I don't see alternative care facilities right now. I don't think we're there. The Omicron data You know, the spike went up in South Africa, but now it's right back down. It does not seem to be as severe. So we have to be careful. We have to do our part. But I think the hospital system can deal with the situation we have right now.
All right, so let's talk briefly just about what we could do for testing, because that's becoming a big issue now. We're seeing long lines of people wanting to get tested. Do you think it would help to have some sort of an Operation Warp Speed again for at-home testing? Shouldn't we maybe be farther along at this point where we can do this more easily, especially when we talk about kids going back to school, us getting on a plane? Make this easy and readily accessible because they're selling out.
Well, it's really very frustrating and sad to me because we did have an Operation Warp Speed for testing. I invested over $6.5 billion into testing, the NIH over $2 billion. And look, I'm not pointing fingers here, but there was between February and September, the Biden administration invested nothing in testing, and all the capacity we built, all the lines, all the infrastructure basically went home. They sent their workers home. Binax now shut down their lines. Now they're digging themselves out. We know what to do. We have the technology. We lost 7 months, and that's the issue right now. And they're going to have to do absolutely invest, support, get the infrastructure, get the workers, because we know how to do that. There's no reason we shouldn't have 500 million to 1 billion tests per month, but we lost 7 months.
Where did that money go,
Doctor? We're in a bad situation. Where did the money go?
Yeah.
Well, so for example, before I left, even Binax now, we bought 180 million tests and distributed them for free and had another 60 million on order. So we spent all our money to provide tests. The problem is when COVID started to go down, the free market didn't buy tests and the government pulled the plug. They didn't guarantee the orders. They didn't continue to build the infrastructure. So the capacity to make those tests went down, and that's where we are right now. We will get out of this, but we're going to be in a shortage of 2 to 3 months, and it's going to be very, for home tests, and there's unfortunately no way out of that. The Biden plans to do an extra 25 million to health centers is just a small drop in the bucket. So I anticipate there's going to be lines. There's some ways to work around this. By pooling of PCR tests and all the things we did when we had to. The unfortunate situation is we shouldn't be in this situation now after we built the capacity, but we lost 7 months from February to September.
Who's spreading this, doctor? Is it primarily the unvaccinated? And I don't mean just here, I mean globally. And, if deaths jump, as we hear from the CDC, 73% by early January, will those primarily be the unvaccinated? And are we going to be doing this, rinse and repeat, until we get more global vaccinations?
So the CDC has to be more transparent with information, because if you are unvaccinated and you have not had COVID, you are the highest risk. There is no question that the unvaccinated and those who have not had COVID are going to get severe illness, are going to fuel the mortality. But just saying it's a pandemic of the unvaccinated really misrepresents things. If you've been vaccinated twice, but it's 7 or 8 or 9 months ago, your risk is still lower than the unvaccinated, but your risk is getting high. So I bet if you look at who's in the hospital right now, it's probably at least half the people there have been vaccinated, but their immunity has waned. So it is very important for Delta, particularly, and Omicron, of course, to get that booster if you're 5, 6, 7 months out. Hate to drop too much data, but just published yesterday, veterans over 65 years old in the VA system, after 5 months in the time of Delta, they were only 20% protected. 20% is not very much. That's why a booster is very, very important if you're over 65, if you have comorbid conditions, and if you're at any other risk, a booster is very important.
Well, no one wants to see the death toll go where the CDC is expecting it to go next month, but that might motivate a lot more people to get in and get that shot. Dr. Brett Giroir, former Assistant Secretary for Health, it's always good to see you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
I remember yelling, "Taser, taser, taser," and nothing happened. And then he told me I shot him.
An emotional day in court for former officer Kim Potter, breaking down on the stand several times as she recounted shooting and killing Daunte Wright during a traffic stop. What impact did it have on the jury? A top defense attorney and former police lieutenant will weigh in on that next. Don't forget, you can follow us on social media at The Donlon Report on Twitter. We're back after this.
I remember yelling, taser, 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 and nothing happened. And then he told me I shot him.
That was former police officer Kim Potter taking the stand in her own defense. Potter on trial for manslaughter after fatally shooting 20-year-old Daunte Wright during a traffic stop in Brooklyn Center, Minnesota back in April. She says she meant to draw her taser, not her gun. Former prosecutor and criminal defense attorney Nicole Deborde and Stephen Rogers, retired New Jersey police lieutenant, join us now. Nicole, I want to start with you. This was hard to watch today. She was a mess. What stood out to you from this testimony? Was it the right call?
I think it was absolutely the right call and absolutely necessary. Who she was and is as a person and why she became an officer and the types of things that she did as an officer all shined through in this testimony. Just absolutely gut-wrenching testimony in a heartbreaking case.
Lieutenant, let's get you in on this because there were points of this testimony today where Potter was unable to even watch the body camera footage, and some of this footage was new, released just during the trial about her reaction afterwards. I'm wondering, as a retired, look at that, she was unable, like I said, to watch it. As a retired police officer, what went through your mind as you watched her testify?
What went through my mind is not only did her testimony impact the jury, it impacted the entire nation. People got a very horrific glimpse at what a police officer must go through and the decision they must make within a split second. This officer made it very clear, and I tell you, Nicole nailed it real well. This officer made it very clear that she was not wanting to kill this individual. She didn't want to use her gun. When you're in a tense situation, and I've been in those situations, and you have reason to believe that your partner or yourself can be killed as a result of an individual not complying with your order, then you're going to take immediate action. In this case, she believed it was the taser. Unfortunately, it was the gun, but I truly believe at the end of the day, she'll be found not guilty.
Well, Nicole, at the end of the day, intent really doesn't have anything to do with it. Everyone admits this was a horrible mistake. The question is, was it reckless? And I guess I want to play another clip for you right now from the prosecution's cross-examination of Potter. Here's part of what she said.
Check on the other car that had been hit, did you?
Oh,
That all happened just down the road from you.
yes.
You were focused on what you had done because you had just killed somebody. Right?
I'm sorry it happened.
Nicole, the prosecutor just pounded away. I wonder in the end, could it have actually favored Potter with the jury? Does it make her look more sympathetic, maybe?
Oh, absolutely. And just watching that cross-examination, I believe that there are a significant number of jurors who must be thinking that this was just an unnecessarily aggressive cross-examination that really didn't lead to anything. And even that line of questioning that you just showed is so interesting because if she had indeed pulled her taser, the exact same accident would have resulted. So I'm just not sure what this prosecutor was trying to accomplish with that particular line of questioning. And indeed, I believe that it was misplaced with this particular defendant.
I think part of what the prosecutor did, though, Steve, is I think point out things that you're well aware of. The training that Potter had gone through extensively, even as recent as March. And that this actually was something that, again, is what's at issue here. It was reckless. She should have known better.
Well, it was not reckless. I could tell you, I've been through that training, but when you're in a situation and you've got to make a very quick decision to save your life or the life of someone else, there's no textbook or no training session that's going to train you for that or prepare you for it. So I don't believe there was any recklessness. With regard to the testimony, again, I believe to some degree that the prosecutor was reckless, trying to prove something that didn't exist. You know, in the military, we call it the fog of war. Accidents do happen. This was a terrible accident. That's what it was. And I just hope to God that the jury sees it that way.
Nicole, what's next?
Now we wait. On Monday, I believe that we will get instructions from the court for the jury to consider. So these will be the jury instructions that give them the law and how to apply the law to the facts that they've heard. And we will hear the closing arguments in this case, and then the jury will have to make a decision based on the information that they've heard in this case.
What do you think that decision comes down to, Nicole?
Boy, it is really hard to know what a jury is going to do. They're sitting there in the courtroom, and that is a much different perspective than the one that we have out here in the world watching pieces of this testimony and what's happening. But based on what I've seen, I would have to agree that this is very likely to be a not guilty verdict.
Steve, what do you think comes out of this as far as training and I guess other possible legal action? I'm guessing that there will probably be a settlement with the city on this, and there might even be perhaps a civil case involved as well.
Well, people may not want to hear this, but what we get out of this is that police officers are going to be very reluctant to perform their duty when they're supposed to be performing minor violations like motor vehicle accidents, motor vehicle violations, quality of life crimes. I've talked to a lot of cops about what's going on in this country, and this case typifies it. Cops are afraid to do their job because prosecutors end up making the cops the bad guys and the bad guys the good guys. So that's what I get out of it. You can have all the training in the world, but when you have something that you run into an unknown where your life could be taken or someone else's, no training in the world is going to prepare you for that.
Nicole, we had a former prosecutor on recently who said this case shouldn't have been brought, in his opinion. It as tragic as it is, criminal, in his opinion, no. Settlement, possibly. Civil, possibly. But criminal, he didn't see it. Do you?
I tend to agree. You know, really, there are courtrooms for exactly this kind of terrible, terrible, horrific accident. Those courtrooms are civil courtrooms. Not every terrible accident is a criminal act. And I just don't think the prosecution has it. I don't think they ever had it. And I do think it's a bit of an injustice proceeding in this way with this case.
Former prosecutor and criminal defense attorney Nicole Deborde and also Stephen Rogers, Campaign for America president and retired New Jersey police detective lieutenant. Thank you both for the time. We appreciate the insight.
My pleasure. Thank you.
The Democrats won't be bringing the Build Back Better plan home for Christmas. Up next, who's the more powerful Joe in Washington, Biden or Manchin? And nearly 4 months after our chaotic exit from Afghanistan, 60,000 Afghan interpreters and visa holders are still there and want out. How do we get them out? And where do they go when we do? That's all ahead. BBB goes from Build Back Better to bye, bye, bye. Joe got what he wanted this year. Unfortunately for Joe Biden, we're not talking about that Joe. Worried about inflation, Senator Joe Manchin of West Virginia foiled the president's hopes of getting his Build Back Better plan through Congress this year. Manchin often a spoiler in the Senate for big White House spending priorities, and once again raising the question, who exactly is the most consequential Joe in the Democratic Party and Washington? Joined now to answer that, Bree Maxwell, a Democratic consultant, and Washington Examiner editor-in-chief Hugo Gurdon. Bree, let's start with you. Who's the most consequential Joe?
I think the most harmful Joe right now would be Joe Manchin, because the Democrats they've reduced the amount of the bill for him, and he is still not letting go. So I think at this point it would be Joe Manchin. He is the problem at this point, at this moment.
Hugo, Manchin said, I don't feel pressure. I'm from West Virginia. I mean, his state liked the infrastructure deal. BBB, not so much. Is this thing going to happen or not?
Certainly not going to happen at his current level. I think it's absolutely wrong to say this is Joe Manchin's fault. He told Chuck Schumer, the majority leader in the Senate, back in July, my top line number is 1.5 trillion. And he hasn't got more intransigent or, got even tougher with them since then. He's actually become more flexible. He's actually now raised that number to 1.75 trillion.
Right.
The extraordinary thing is that the rest of the Democrats, Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi, entirely ignored what he said. And the fact is, it's not just one person who's standing in the way of this. It's the entire Republican caucus and Joe Manchin. The majority of the Senate is against the bill that is being put forward.
Why not pass it at 175 then, Hugo?
What's that?
Why not pass it at 175 then?
Well, I mean, because he's concerned about inflation. I mean, they're still haggling over that. I mean, he has some very legitimate concerns. When he said 1.5 back in July, he said, I'm very concerned about inflation. This bill would spray fiscal gasoline, spray excess dollars onto a hot economy. And, you know, he's much wiser than the people who are supposed to be leading the party on this.
Bree, it would be easier to do a package this size in odd number of years. Clearly, I mean, election years make legislation like this much more complicated. What do you think are the chances of this thing being resurrected in an election year, next year?
So we know it's not going to happen this year. And at this point, I foresee it probably happening in January. But it's going to be a difficult thing to even get past next year. With it being an election year and with Democrats being on the hot seat right now, you know, it will be hard to pass. And it is going to carry on into the 2022 midterms with people trying to get reelected and trying to get Democrats elected across the country.
Do you think does it hurt? Do you think this not passing, does it hurt Democrats?
It will, because that has been one of the biggest things that we have wanted to pass since Biden became in office. So yes, I think it will hurt in some type of way.
All right, Hugo, I want to get you both on something, but we'll start with you because I want Bree to respond to what I'm guessing I'm going to hear from you. But we are less than a year from the midterms, as Bree pointed out. But the Democrats do have some troubles here. You may have seen this article in Politico. I mean, 22 was going to be an uphill climb for the Democrats historically anyway. We knew that. But now there's apparently infighting with the DCCC on messaging and policy and strategy. I guess they're not on the same page. And one venerable House Democrat said this is a real problem. Hugo, what do you think of this?
Yeah, look, this is a real problem for the Democrats. When the tide goes out, it exposes all the dangerous things that were hidden beneath the surface. The tide of popularity is going out really fast for the Democrats and exposing the dangers. The principal danger in the Democratic Party at the moment is that there is a big split between its sort of more radical, more militant left wing and those who are on the front line trying to defend swing seats. And so, you know, there's a lot of complaints about the way that the DCCC is being run, that it's being run by in a more left-wing way. The people on the front line who have to defend the swing states or the swing districts are those who want to talk about bread and butter issues. And what they say is, no, the DCCC and the sort of more radical elements of the Democratic Party are constantly trying to harp on about President Trump and trying to tar Republicans as, you know, Trumpists, et cetera. They just think that the strategy is wrong and that what should be used is the one that was used in 2018, where Democrats actually won, rather than, focusing on the one which lost to the Virginia governor's race just a month or so ago.
So, Bree, how do you stop the infighting and patch this up and stop the bleeding?
I think the only way to do this is progressives, moderates, conservative Democrats, we all have to come on the same page. One thing that I learned in undergrad at South Carolina State University, where the president was today, is we have to be one band and one sound. So that's one thing that the Democratic Party is going to have to be. We're going to have to be one band, one sound on the same message. And at this point, I believe messaging is one of the biggest issues. From talking with constituents here in South Carolina, they want to hear something different from the party. So we have to figure out how we can get on one page, the art of the compromise, and make sure that we are making sure that our messaging points gets across to our communities the way that it needs to.
All right, Bree Maxwell, Indigo Consulting CEO and Washington Examiner Editor-in-Chief Hugo Gurdon. Good to see you both. Thanks for the time.
Thank you.
Up next, it was the largest airlift in U.S. history. It lasted 17 days, 120,000 people evacuated, 13 U.S. service members killed, and it ended America's longest ever war. However, according to a report in the Wall Street Journal, it turns out it wasn't quite big enough. The newspaper reports some 60,000 interpreters and visa applicants remain in Afghanistan, where the Taliban is back in power. Matt Zeller helped get allies out of Afghanistan during the airlift, and he helped found No One Left Behind. Matt, it's good to see you again. This is the first time the State Department has provided a number on this, and it's a big one. I'm wondering, did it surprise you? Is it about where you thought this number would be, and do you think it's accurate?
No, it wasn't a surprise. We had known this actually since the 1st of September, that it was going to be pretty bad. What was shocking was, and it's the number that they seem to have not released publicly, but they've told us in private, which is that how many Afghan interpreters they actually did evacuate between the 14th of July and the 30th of August, which is what is known as Operation Allies Refuge. And that was 3,000. And that's significant because as of the 15th of August, we knew that they had at least evacuated anywhere from 1,000 to 1,500 Afghan interpreters and their family members from the 14th of July to the 14th of August in that first month. So that means in that last 2 weeks, for the bulk of the people actually got evacuated, at best, we took 2,000 additional interpreters and their family members, which is just unconscionable. That's, these were the people who were supposed to be at the front of the line. And unfortunately, they're now at the front of the line of the Taliban's hit lists. And that's what we've been having to live with for the last couple of months is we've only been able to get out about 3,000 people since the 1st of September. The vast majority of those people were American citizens and green card holders who had been left behind. But what we've seen in that interim is the Taliban have been just as awful as we feared. They have been hunting these people down. They have been murdering them and their family members. We now advise the people that we try to assist over there to not go, for example, to the Afghan passport office, because we know that if anyone shows up at the passport office seeking a passport to leave the country, we know that the Taliban will put them through their biometrics database that they stole from the previous government. And if they pop up as someone who used to either work for us or for the previous Afghan government, they are disappeared.
So whose job is it to get them out now? And how do we do it? 60,000 people.
It's more than 60,000. I mean, let's be clear. That's just the special immigration visa recipients. And I think that's low. It's actually probably much higher because Congress changed the criteria of who would qualify for the SIV program back in July. And I don't think the State Department is taking that into account yet because we haven't seen those people submit applications, truth be told, to the extent that they're going to. My estimate and the estimate of the Association of Wartime Allies, which is the one that I trust the most, is it's in probably excess of around 200,000 people once you include all the priority 1 and priority 2 visa applicants that also need evacuation.
So how do we get them out?
Well, that's the thing. It's still our responsibility. We're still the only country on the planet with the resources to do this. It's clear that it's not going to be able to be done through commercial air alone, which ideally means we would be allowed somehow at some point to send back U.S. Air Force aircraft to try to take these people out. That would be the optimal scenario. So how do we get that deal with the Taliban? Well, right now it's snowing in Kabul. And it's so bad over there because the Afghan Taliban have not been able to replace what the global community provided for the last 20 years, which was food and fuel. So people are starving and freezing to death, which means there's a deal to be made. We're already trying to feed the Afghans through the World Food Program. We also know, by the way, that the Taliban are not distributing any of that aid beyond their own fighters and their fighters' families. So we need to get them to comply with global community, human rights standards, which is that food aid should not ever be withheld for any reason. But when it comes to fuel, there's a deal to be made there. Our fuel in exchange for the people that we left behind. I'm hoping that the government will understand that the Taliban are transactional and they will understand, they're going to want something in exchange for the people we want to get out. The reality is that if we don't do this, more people are going to die this winter than the Taliban could ever possibly hope to kill with their bombs and bullets. And they're going to die really horrifically of starvation and exposure. And I'm talking in the hundreds of thousands, if not millions. There is a calamity coming over there. And it might actually be too late. That's the thing that's been haunting us is we just haven't seen the type of movement from the global community to help provide the type of food and fuel aid that is going to get the Afghans through the next winter. It's something it's going to keep a lot of veterans basically sleepless through the next couple of months because we are the only people, let's be clear, that digital Dunkirk movement, the Afghan evac movement, that continues to this day. We didn't go anywhere. Our stories aren't being as told as as often as they were before. But the massive difference is there's no more U.S. Air Force aircraft. We were having to do this all through privately chartered planes. And one of the biggest hindrances to that effort, in addition, obviously, to the Taliban, has actually been the State Department. It's been very difficult to get people cleared to fly.
Absolutely. Listen, this is a great update for us. Matt Zeller, it's nice to have you again. No one left behind. Appreciate the time.
Thank you very much for having me. And by the way, keep an eye out on the Afghan War Commission that Congress just passed. That is going to be a game changer as this goes forward.
All right. We'll keep an eye on that. Thanks again. Vincent Jackson was a star NFL receiver earlier this year. He was found dead in a hotel room. Today we learned he is yet another case of CTE in a former player, severe brain damage. We'll get into that ahead. Just days ago, we learned former NFL player Philip Adams, who killed 6 people, suffered from CTE brain injuries, often resulting from repeated head trauma. And now we have another. Former wide receiver Vincent Jackson, found dead in a hotel room in February, also suffered from stage 2 CTE. That's according to the Concussion Legacy Foundation. Jackson played 7 seasons for the San Diego Chargers and 5 for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, reached 3 Pro Bowls. He was just 38 years old. Lacie Leonard, the wife of former NFL defensive tackle Louis Leonard, joins us now. She advocates for players, particularly black players, to get compensation for playing-related brain injuries. That comes after the NFL admitted to using race norming to determine the payout for those agreements. Lacie, I know you focused more on this settlement, but I want to get your reaction first to the news about the latest CTE case.
Well, first and foremost, I would like to send my deepest condolences to the Jackson family, his wife. My husband started off in San Diego with the Chargers, so he knew Vincent Jackson personally. When we found out that he had passed, my husband was absolutely hurt by it. I personally didn't know him, but just seeing my husband's reaction, it definitely hit home. And so just understanding that he wasn't alone, and there's many players like Vincent, like my husband, like countless other families that were dealing with a lot of the same issues. It was very troubling to hear that.
What is the latest with Louis?
Louis is doing okay. It's some days is good, some days he's not so good. Today was actually a bad day, so to speak. But he's, he comes from a praying family. We are a family of faith. And, despite the things that my husband struggles with daily, we have a lot of support, so I thank God for that. But it definitely was troubling when we found out that it was confirmed that Vincent Jackson had stage 2 CTE. I was actually not with my husband at the time, and he called me and he said, "Did you hear what happened?" And I said, "No, what are you talking about?" And he was so upset, and he said they confirmed that he had stage 2. So it's almost triggering for some of these men, because for them, it's a constant reminder of almost what can come. And it's scary. It's scary for these men. It's scary for me as a wife,
right?
Because we know what our husbands deal with behind closed doors. And I'm sure that, many wives of retired players that are suffering from symptoms of CTE and suffering from, neurocognitive brain damage, they understand what these families are going through. And so, again, I share my deepest sympathies for the Jackson family.
Lacie
and then just also noting that, the things that we have been talking about are happening. These families, these men that are struggling, this is something that the NFL should be accountable for. I do understand that the NFL has, taken a step forward in acknowledging that they will, stop the race norming. However, what are the resources? What are we going to do to really advocate and put things in place for these guys when they transition out? And also for the wives. There are so many wives that are also struggling with their own emotional and mental health issues as it relates to providing and being caregivers for these men.
Right. I know
so
we talked
I
with...
definitely... I'm sorry?
Yeah, I was going to say, we talked with one of the doctors who's been the lead on a lot of the CTE research, and she says that a lot of these players do end up by themselves, isolated, much like Vincent did at the end, found in a hotel room, which is why it's great that the wives do play such a key role in this. I'm curious, if I'm not prying, what made it a bad day today? What is Louis dealing with? And are you worried that he has this as sort of a ticking time bomb in him, if you will?
Absolutely. Well, for Louis today, he was in a lot of pain. And so that was triggering for him. He was in just a lot of pain. Earlier this morning, he was doing okay. And then late this afternoon, he had a headache. He was really agitated. He was just in a lot of pain, his joints, his knees, his back, his head. And it's almost like you said, almost like a ticking time bomb. You really never know what can be triggering. A very good family friend of mine who is a therapist, she sent me a text message actually last night, and I thank God for her, because she said, "Lacie, I just want you to know that I'm thinking about you and I'm thinking about Louis, because I know seeing all and hearing all of these players being confirmed, cases of CTE, I know that is traumatic. And it is, because, that's something that we constantly worry about. There is no doubt in my mind that my husband is exhibiting these symptoms of CTE, so much that he's already agreed to donate his brain for research. My husband has already signed the paperwork to donate his brain to UCSF, because we believe in definitely making sure that we can get the research for, if not for us, for someone else. All I've wanted to do is be an advocate for families. All my husband has wanted to do is figure out how we can change the narrative and how we can help. And so for us and our family, it's very important to figure out how can we best have the quality life for these men. Yeah. And that's what I'm here for, and that's what I'm going to advocate for until my husband gets the justice that he deserves, and all of the countless families who are suffering, and the families that are suffering from this disease, this brain disease.
You're a great advocate for sure, Lacie Leonard, and we appreciate you sharing your voice with us tonight. Wife of former NFL defensive tackle Louis Leonard. Give Louis our best, will you?
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right. Take care. How a brave canine stopped a possible shootout and his recovery. Pretty miraculous. That's our snapshot. Next. And to all our viewers out there, we want to thank you for making News Nation the fastest growing cable news network in the country. We appreciate you watching. Want to share this with you. Bank robber on the run tried to grab a police officer's gun in Ohio. Here's a bit of that.
Stay where you're at. Nope. Stop it. Yo, step it up. Resisting. Stop it. Please stop. Please stop, sir. Stop it, please. Stop it, please. Please, stop it! Please stop it. Stop. Get back! Get back!
Please stop. Northfield Village Police in Ohio later able to apprehend that robber with the help of a good Samaritan. Another day for policing in America. It's going to be a busy holiday travel season, and as you prepare to visit family and loved ones this holiday season, there's always that one person on your flight. And here he is here. He's walking onto the plane with, well, it's an interesting mask, we'll put it that way, women's underwear, a thong. And the airline wasn't happy about it.
You're going to have to come off the airplane. They're not going to let you travel. What? Non-mask compliance. So I can't fly because this doesn't work?
There you go. At least one passenger followed him out in solidarity. Tonight's American Snapshot. A hero, a canine hero, is back protecting the streets of Kenosha after a near-death experience. Back in late October, Kenosha County Sheriff's Department Deputy Terry Tift and his canine, Riggs, with other deputies, tried to take a Chicago homicide suspect into custody. When the suspect tried to get away, Riggs took off after him, wrestled him to the ground, and shot in his forehead. Riggs was released from the vet 3 days later, defying the odds and everyone's fears, doing well. In fact, one of the hospitals that treated Riggs waived the cost of the canine's care. He also earned himself a Purple Heart and a Silver Star, and he also gets our American Snapshot. Have a great night. On Balance is next. Thank you for watching. Click the red subscribe button below so you can get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.